Good morning, Well Church. Are you extra sugary this morning? Surprise, surprise. We decided to make this a church, family, business meeting, brunch. We just put as many words as we could in there to make it a standout special day. We are just looking back on the past year, worshiping and celebrating all that God helped us get through and celebrate and look ahead. Towards the end of this morning, I'll share a little bit of vision for where I feel the Lord is leading us for 2021. I want to welcome our online family and friends viewing with us this morning. Say hello, check in, and let us know that you're with us as well. As we go throughout this morning, both to our online guests and here in person, this is the sort of a time where if you've got a question, if you want to ask something, if you want a little bit more clarity, just put up a hand. I'll do my very best to get to you. And this is sort of when you say business meeting, you start to get a little sleepy, okay? It's hopefully more than that. I don't know that we'll do it like this next year. We've never done it on a Sunday morning. I just felt like, you know what? 2020 is the year of making adjustments. Let's just make one more. And let's do it today. So this time next year, I don't know if we'll do it like this. I'll go ahead and let you know this time next year, if the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl, this will be an all-morning prayer meeting. I will be in sackcloth and ashes until maybe the third quarter. Y'all, some of you are like, what a man of faith. The Cowboys in the Super Bowl. What a man of faith is our pastor. Wow. You can't be anything but a man of faith if you call yourself a Dallas Cowboys fan. Either that or you love misery. I don't know which one it is. Probably a little bit of both. So, ushers, Nick and Joe have this report that they want to give you. And I want to make that available to you to flow through with us this morning. We'll do our very best to stay on track. But again, please, please, please pause and ask questions along the way if you'd like to know something in more detail. If you're watching us online, this week we will upload this report. It'll be right underneath the last year's report. So you'll get to look at that after I present this to our in-person crowd this morning. So let's get going. Let me get my paper set up here. So just briefly, I don't know that we'll have to spend too much time on some of this first little part, but section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 thoughts to my name is Jack. Nice to meet you. If you're that new and I haven't got a chance to meet you, my name is Jack, and this is my wife, Miranda, and we are the lead pastors of the Well Church. Just to my wife's right is Pastor Brooke. Brooke Leonard is our associate pastor, and her husband, David, is that handsome guy back there in that black Nike hat. No, not that guy. That guy right there. Yeah, there he is. There he is. About 4 people back there claimed you as their wife. I don't know what's going on. There you go. Joshua Henneberger is he's at the back. Wave at us, Joshua. Joshua and Rebecca serve as our student ministry directors. The elementary director, to be announced, like within a few minutes, y'all. We just want to build you up for that, okay? Alex Garcia right here. Wave at us. Alex is our worship leader. Alex and Sarah right here on the front row. Colby Nichols. Colby right here is our music director. His wife Bree right here. Hello, hello. I lost my place. Molly Salona is absent today. She's not here. She's somewhere. She is our... She might be taking pictures somewhere. She's over our marketing. We call her our influencer. Molly Salona. Rebecca Snyder is in the kids area. She is our volunteer coordinator, and if you are interested in almost every team here at the Well Church, you will go through Rebecca as far as scheduling and whatnot. Board of Directors, I serve as the chair of our church board of directors. I'll ask you guys, and if your spouses are with you, to just stand for a minute and just stay standing, if you don't mind, until I list all of you. Mr. Lee Farmer, right here. Mr. Joe Farley. Joe's already standing. He's the masked bandit back there by the door. Alan Kinsey, right here. Jeff Kersey, back at our tech booth. Chris Pickens, right here. And Mr. Nick Snyder. Would y'all give these guys a round of thanks for serving as our church board of directors. Of course, not present with us are the Well Church overseers, Reverend Darius Johnston, Reverend Chad Benson, Reverend Andrew Holland. They are, of course, never with us, but they serve in a role of leadership more directly with me. So these are the guys, like I joked about last Sunday, when we have a bad day and I don't even know if I want to come back. These are my counselors. These are guys that we, iron sharpens iron, and they have been a wealth of wisdom and counseling and knowledge for me. Should something happen, catastrophic sense, for this lead pastor or the lead pastor of the future, these pastors would come in alongside the board and keep the church moving forward. So that is their role. So it's kind of like, football day, right? It's kind of like the long snapper. If you never hear his name, you know everything's going okay, right? So we honor these guys, and they have already seen this report. I check in with them throughout the year, and they are just a really good level of leadership for me personally, for Miranda and I. Any questions on the Well Church leadership? If not, all right, pretty plain and simple, cut and dry. Okay, there you go. Next one is attendance summaries. We like to look back a couple of years and let you see some trends, just some general information. 2018 average was 131. 2019 average was 146. 2020 average was 128. Obviously, the pandemic took a dip in a year that we expected to see quite an increase. In that 128 number, it's hard to track online views. So I estimate between 10 people and 25 people any given Sunday is about what we're seeing as far as online service views. And the way we track that is we look at the comments, which is why we make a point to ask if you're watching online, say good morning, say you're here, give us an emoticon or something, right, so that we can know that you're actually there while it's being broadcast live, okay? So that's how we track attendance for online. Good so far? All right, moving right along. Item 3, financial summaries, Actually, it's 2018 to 2020. 2018 actual income, 257,207 people. That broke down for a per capita giving of $1,963 per person. 2019 income actual, 338,737 per capita giving, $2,320 per person. 2020 income actual, 357,348 per capita giving, 2,792 people per person. 2020, we ended with a deficit of $8,633.12. A lot of the 2020 income, which you see that really good increase, I like how those financial trends are going, but we were in a building, moving into a building in 2020. So Catapult is what we were calling the giving campaign that is designated funds toward the building. Income in 2020 was $58,989.26. Okay? I'll pause for questions, thoughts. And board, if you can help me think of things, if you think if anything needs to be clarified or whatnot, just let me know. Somebody's got to break the ice. I'm looking at my usual suspects. There he is. I was looking at Connie, and then I was looking at Alan. I attribute that to our building campaign. Building campaign. Yes. Mhm. Yep. Good question. Good clarity question. So yeah, you see an increase. We had obviously people made pledges to this building, to moving into a permanent facility, and so those pledges came through, and we did have two significant donations that can tend to skew the reports, in one way or another. So in a year where attendance was down, and let's see, this time last year we were still meeting in person. It was mid-March that we took our kids home from spring break, and they never took them back. Right. So we met that time change Sunday for church, and we never went back to the banquet hall. And so yeah, it can tend to. So when we do projections and budget planning for years to come, we always pull out those anomalies that tend to skew it, because we don't expect to get $58,000 just in random gifts. Now, if that's a number, if that confirms a number that the Lord has given you this morning, and is that what you have, if you've been listening for a number, then that's fine. That's fine. No, we don't want to do that. We don't do that. But, yeah, that's what we do. So, all right. Any other questions? Clarity? Yes. Anomaly is like something that happened that you can't predict that it'll happen in the future. Like a pandemic. We hope that COVID-19 is an anomaly, right? So, good question. Good question. Okay? All right. Ooh, we have a microphone now. We just got official, didn't we? There you go. Okay. Next one, item 4, 2021 board approved budget. We have the board. So I guess this is a good time to talk about what does the board do? What does the board do? So our board oversees the business side of church. Our board oversees the budget that I present to them. They review and they approve, and they make adjustments where they see necessary and clarify things. And I would say probably verify things. And I would say this year we get better and better and better as we get some history to our very young church in doing the budget. And I think this year is probably the best, most clear as far as budgeted lines and budgeted items and moving some things here and there. This is probably, hopefully, the best budget that we have to date. So they oversee everything to do with money, with contracts. They do not oversee the programming of ministry. So according to our bylaws, the lead pastor and the pastoral staff oversees the vision and the mission of ministry to the congregants, to the community. The board takes on the side of the business aspects, like in a sense of a corporation. So the lead pastor, as far as the bylaws are concerned, I kind of wear two hats. I wear a pastoral shepherding hat for vision and ministry, and then when it comes to the business side, I wear more of the hat of a CEO or a COO concerning the corporation of the Well Church. Okay? All right, so board-approved budget for 2021, we have approved a budget of $274,265, an expense of $273,618.22. And then below that, you see sort of a breakdown as far as where money, percentages-wise. I always like to share this with you. One more comment on this approved budget. Our bylaws do not give me the authority to set my salary or the salary of any of my family members. So when we originally set up the bylaws of the church, you set them up not just to help you for the now, but to think in 50 years, and I'm not the lead pastor or someone else is wearing both hats in this organization, you don't want that person to have the financial authority and power to set his salary or the salary of anyone in his family. So I always like to say that, and that way it gives a good level of accountability for the lead pastor. Tom?
You mentioned family members, but there's currently no family members being paid on
Correct.
the staff.
That's right. That's right. And the family members of myself and the staff cannot serve on the board of directors. And I want to put on my Gen X sarcastic, skeptical hat. The reason why that matters is, okay, so the board of directors sets the salary of the lead pastor. Well, the board of directors is his uncle, his aunt, his son, his wife. And I bring that up because, unfortunately, there are churches and nonprofits that operate like that. And I want you to know that that is not how we do business here at the Well Church. I'm very thankful for the wisdom that was given us in setting up our bylaws to do it that way, and I'm always happy to share that with you as well. My father-in-law, Tom.
Sorry. I was just wondering, the budget for 2021, where in that budget do we pay off the deficit from 2020?
That's a good question. And I made a note, and I did not say this when I was in item 3 mentioning the deficit, but this January, last month, we ended January with a surplus of $8,800 and some change. I'm sorry, $8,609.52. Yeah. You want me to say that again, don't you? So the deficit last year, I like to say these again, a deficit of $8,633.12. And our surplus last month was $8,609.52. So I need somebody to give $20. Hey, there it is right there. Isn't that amazing? Thank you for asking that question, because I completely got in fast mode, and this is why I like you to ask questions, because I've been looking at this document for 4 weeks, right? And I just can skim over things. But isn't that amazing? We have a lot of stories like that at the Well Church. We have a lot that we'll get to share this fall when we celebrate 10 years. We want to tell our stories like that because it is so normal for our faith to be stretched like that. It's not mean of God. It's just normal for Him to mature and to grow our faith, and just understand that He's good, understand that He's aware, and we're going to perspire a little bit as it's happening, and then something like that happens. It's just miraculous. It really is incredible. So, good. All right. Okay, 2021 board approved budget. Any questions? Yes, Terry?
So I was just wondering, the 25% budgeted for staffing, is that come off the top first, or does, like the 20% for missions and ministries, blah, 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 and then after what is left is for staffing?
Well, missions this year, good question. Did y'all hear her question? Okay. We haven't been in a financial situation where we had to decide what to pay, right? So when we would come to that decision, the board would be making those decisions. So if we hit a month and all of a sudden, it's April and we're $10,000 in the hole, so to speak, it is the board that would make those decisions concerning what the church would do at that time. We do. We do have a checking account. We have a savings account. Right now, the goal of our board is to have in reserves minimum 60 days operating expenses, preferably 90 days. Okay? So the philosophy of myself and the philosophy of our board is we're not a bank. We don't want to just pile up cash, and needs are not being met. But at the same time, we have to protect the operations of the church so that should seasons like that come, that we can continue to still meet needs and ministries while we do face those seasons. So right now, our savings is about 13 to 14,000. So that is about a half of a month operating expenses. So as the reason why I put in item 4BI is so that as increases as they do come in, we can slide that into our savings and get our savings built up so that we're not operating on a 2-week reserve, so that we have a minimum of a 2-month reserve, which a 2-month reserve would be, for this year's budget, would be about $44,000 to $46,000. My father's an accountant, by the way, or it was his. So he loves this stuff.
Do you have any statistics as far as a medium-sized church that is 10, 15 years going? What the average amount of percentage of savings
that church has?
Yeah,
I don't have any figures directly. We could get that. We could learn that. I would say, in my conversations with our overseers, with other pastors, we're pretty much normal when you look at our church and the age of our church and the age of our congregants. So we are a young married with kids kind of mostly that is our church. That is our church. So churches that are not like us, that have an older crowd, older generations in the church, and one of our sister churches in Weatherford fits that demographic. They don't have a very large congregants, don't have young kids. Their kids they're empty nesters. Their kids have moved out, and so they have an old congregation. So the income increases because you have more, and I mean this respectfully, mature money. Right? You have mature money, yeah. Where if you have young kids, your budget, income, and expense is very tight like ours is for 2021. So, and then conversely, if you have a church and you're like a lot of first-year marriages, you got a whole lot of love and not a lot of money, right? Then you're very young, you're just starting out, and so your budget and income kind of reflects that too. So I can't say we could get that data, we could get that information. It's out there. I don't have it now, but we do match about where we are budget-wise, what we should be. Now, at the same time, our savings, we did dip. We were board. Y'all can help me out. Mainly Nick and Lee. They're the penny board member. Lee just left, of course. I think it was around April or May that we chose to spend from savings about $10,000 on the building. And it was things we absolutely had to have. We had to have it to open the doors, and the giving and the money just wasn't there. So they made the decision to move from reserve. So we were, before building, at about 1 month's expense with the continuing goal to be at 60 to 90 days. So that was, I'll get to you in just a minute. So that was where we were. That's where we want to get. Huh? We did it was on Yeah. Yeah, we were, God's timing is never a surprise to him, but we were homeless for about 2.5 months. We had no place to meet. I kind of felt this little nudge to just get out of the banquet hall and stop paying rent, because I felt like, and I'll never forget, I called our builder. This was the week of spring break. I had this idea, and I got the board on board because this is a business decision, right? So Jack just didn't decide we're getting out of the banquet hall and moving. No, the board was involved with that. But I called our builder and I said, I need to know, are we getting the building? Is it still June? Are we getting the building June? He said, you're getting the building June. And I said, you need to answer that question not like a builder, answer it like a believer. I need you to be honest with me. Is this thing going to be August? Is it going to be September? He said, Jack, you're getting the building June 1st. I was like, okay. So it was that week that we started making plans to move out of the banquet hall, because we're essentially had a very expensive storage rental facility, right? So I make the joke, we left the banquet hall like the children of Israel leaving Egypt. It was quick, it was fast, it was grab everything that you can and get out. And that's exactly what we did. So, yes, Ms. Jordan.
So does this mean we're financially stable?
Well, that's a good question. It means we are. It means we are, but you'll see, well, we got to have donuts and sausage rolls. So those are, as the Bible would say, sweetbreads. That is the sweet bread of kings. So that's, but at the same time, we haven't had brunch in a long time, right? So it's still very tight. But I don't lose sleep at night. So that's a good picture of our stability. And I would strongly encourage accounting or business or something, because your questions are really good, really good. So yeah, we're doing okay. We're paying all of our bills. We do have a balance on a credit card that we're paying down, that we carried over from 2020 into 2021. We've never done that before. We have 2 credit cards. We were paid off one, in August or September, something like that. But then we do have a balance that we're carrying over of about, after this payment, about $10,000. So we're currently paying that down as well. So yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. All right. You got a question? About the missions and ministries. Okay.
Ministries like kids, youth.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So of that 20%, what about is missions? What about is ministries?
So our missions commitments every month are $600. Is that right? $600 a month. So, and then our ministries expense, I would just, without looking at the budget, 3 times that, 4 times that. Board, what do y'all think? Is 3 or 4 times that, depending on the month. The way we're doing missions this year is different than we've done it in years past. So this year, we are taking the missions needs to you and letting you know this is our current monthly obligation. And I did this last week. Last week I said we needed $580. Last month, missions-wise, of that surplus, how much? $1,678.38. So your generosity, God moving on your heart, we funded our missions commitments, okay? These are the commitments to missionaries, and you can see them on the wall out here. That's another reason why we did that. We were supporting so many missionaries, and yet I don't know that you knew that. I don't know that you knew how many missionaries, families that, we and other churches like us were helping support. So in that one mention, we funded almost 3 months of our commitments. But what we want to do is when we are contacted by organizations in the community that we would consider missions, And I'll give you an example. Last December, Trinity Habitat for Humanity, they needed $3,000 to finish a house in Weatherford. So what I want to see us as a church be able to do is when missions funds come in and we have a surplus like last month, we can hit October, November, December, and then I can come to you, and this is a board decision, by the way. I can come to you and I can say, I just got an email. They're $3,000 away from finishing a house for a needy family in Weatherford. This is our county, and we have the funds to do it. I think we should do it. And then we all get to celebrate the win that you gave designated towards missions. All of our missionaries are taken care of, and now we have this surplus that we can help build a house in Parker County. So that's why we're taking to you different missions needs. And even before the need comes, let's say we don't have a surplus. Who's to say that come October I might get contacted from Flourishing Tree, right? Our pregnancy center right here, just south of us on Bankhead Highway. I don't know, they've got a family that needs this, or they need a remodeling of this or that, and it's $1,200. I can bring that to us as a congregation and say there is a need. If you feel led to do so, if you're tithing and this is something above your tithe that you want to be a part of, here's the amount, here's the need, and this is what we can do. Okay? Good. Ryan, right in the back.
For this, does that mean that do we have like set budgets for each of the ministries on how much of that 20% they're going to be given for the year, or is it just a general fund that says, here's how much we have, pull from it when you need something?
No, it's budgeted. Each month they know how much they have, and as we grow and as the departments grow, they will have their own departmental budget. But for the size that we are right now, it is all one operating expense budget for all departments. Mm-hmm. And they're tight budgets. We are still in what we consider spending restrictions. And I'll give you an example. Josh texted me yesterday for their Super Bowl party. He wanted to buy some dodgeballs. And I said, well, check your budget. I know you haven't spent any money this year. And this is so small church, but this is just where we are right now. He sent me a video of him squeezing the ball. These are $5 each. And I said, I think you need about 8. And he said, that's what I had in the cart. So I think 40 bucks. But this is how, so are we in a good financial state? Yes, but we're still watching our expenses like that as an example, right? So we are really watching every penny, every dime, every dollar that comes in so that we just don't go all willy-nilly and they get outside of their department range. Jeremy.
So we're budgeting like we have young kids, basically.
That's exactly right. Good point. We're budgeting like a family. We really are. We really are. So I was so encouraged while we're on the subject of money. I was blown away at the response from this series, Heart for the House. Your response to it and how you are looking at how God tells us to do money and finances. Will we end every month with an $8,000 surplus? Who knows? But I just want you to know that the money that comes in is looked at every month. And it is not Jack and Miranda deciding what we're going to do with it. There are a lot of eyes. And I think you would be very impressed with our board of directors and how we spend most of our meeting looking at the finances in the future. We spend most of our time doing that. And I'll brag on them a little bit too. I told them this in our December or January. This January we just gathered for a time of prayer, but I think it might have been December. I have pastor friends who have horror stories of dealing with their board of directors, and just the back and forth, the meanness, and I have never had that experience at the Well Church. And I just want to, I celebrate, this is a day of reports and celebration. I give God thanks for that, because that is the Lord's work in them, understanding how that pennies equate to souls. And there is an economic side to ministry, and there's just such a really wonderful, harmonious spirit in our board meetings. And I think, am I right? Yeah. We like each other. We like each other. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful thing. God has blessed us. God has blessed us. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Looking at you, Jordan. Looking at you, Tom. All right. Good. She's waiting on the... I got you. All righty. All right. Okay. Then page 3 is our department updates. I am going to step off here just a minute. And y'all welcome Pastor Brooke up to the stage.
All right. I get to talk about the things that y'all care about. Here we go. I'm just joking. Actually, I was thinking I was going to make that joke, and then there were so many questions. I was like, oh, people are really interested in this. Maybe this is not the joke to make. All right. We're on page 3, and I'm just going to start by talking about Easter. It is around the corner, and it will be here before you know it. Easter is very early this year, so it's on April 4th. So we are already in planning mode for Easter. To do it safely in person with space, we are going to have 2 services Easter weekend so that we can make sure that with a surplus of people who come in, we have plenty of room to spread out and keep people safe in the room that we're in. So that means that we absolutely have to have double the volunteers that we would have on a regular Sunday, because when we do 2 services, we like to operate in the sit one, serve one style of ministry. So that means that if you are serving during the first service, we want you to be able to attend the second service just as you are without a job to do. So we definitely need volunteers for that. So if you are on a team, be prepared to be asked on Easter Sunday to serve. And then if you have not signed up for a team yet, we're going to get to how you can volunteer to become part of our teams here in a minute. Also for Easter egg hunts, I know that this is important for all of our families with littles, and we are in the process of figuring out how to do this as safely as we possibly can. We will probably end up doing a candy scramble instead of an egg hunt traditionally, which means that we won't have to have people touching the candy, putting them in the eggs, sanitizing the eggs, getting them out, things like that. So we may just do where we just pour all the candy in the grass and then let the kids run and just grab it as they are. Again, this is still in development. We're figuring all that stuff out as we go. Any questions on Easter coming up? Alex, do you have the cantata ready for the worship team, the choir? Alex is taking, people for the choir if you're ready to serve in that. One day. Okay, item B, we're talking about this summer, some camps or retreats. So last year we had decided, even before the pandemic hit, that we were going to be homebound for the year of 2020 so that we could put all of our focus and all of our energy towards getting into the building. Then the world exploded. So we didn't end up going to any camps or doing any retreats, partially because we weren't going to anyway, but also partially because of the pandemic. So this summer, we don't know what the situation is going to be. We don't know what the numbers are going to look like. And so we're trying to decide what the best possible thing to do for our kids, for our women's ministry, for our men's ministry. And you guys can help us with this. So if you will take out your phones, especially if you have children, especially if you have kids that may attend a summer event, take out your phone and use that QR code that's in front of you. You can just open your camera, scan that QR code, and it's going to take you to our next steps page. And the very top button on the Next Steps page says Summer Survey. And what we need for you to do is fill out this survey to help us to know what you are wanting to do for your kids this summer. So if you know that no matter what the situation is, that you're not going to send your kid to camp this summer, we want to know that. Because we don't want to put all of our effort into organizing camp for 3 kids to go, because that's a lot of work and it's a lot to ask of our volunteers who take off work to take kids to camp. I know that Lakeview did end up having camp last summer, and it was very successful. They had 5 weeks of camp, and no cases came out of all of those kids being there. So they have taken extra precautions to make sure that they are keeping their campers and their volunteers safe there. But we also have options to potentially host some sort of event here, whether it's a family-style VBS or it's a local kids event or a local youth event. There are options for that too on the survey. So we really, really need your help, because we don't want to put all of our energy into something that you're not looking for. So if you could fill that out, especially if you have kids. And then if you don't, you can even leave a comment. There's a little comment box on there. If you are interested in a women's retreat, if you're interested in a men's retreat or something like that, you know that you would attend something like that through the rest of this year, go ahead and fill out that survey and let us know on that. Any questions on the survey on summer events? Perfect. Yes. Okay. Item C is about Serve Sundays. So at the end of 2019, we decided that we were going to do this cool thing in 2020 called Serve Sunday. When we don't cancel church, we become the church. And so we don't have a traditional service, but we're all out in the community, and we're serving the community and doing all these service projects. And then our first Serve Sunday was supposed